U.S. homeless shelters are struggling to accommodate the growing number of poor Americans. The face of the average tenant, though, has certainly been changing over the past few years. And sometimes even a full-time job doesn't mean that you can afford a place to live. RT's Marina Portnaya filed the story.
The working poor have become among America's fastest-growing demographic. Charmaine works full-time as a telephone data collector.
I make about $250 a week, depending on the hours that I work.
On many days, the 38-year-old eats a free dinner at the New York City Rescue Mission before heading to the place she's called home for the past 5 years.
I come here to eat at the mission, then jump on the train, get back to the shelter for curfew at 8 o'clock. If you don't make it back to the shelter at 8 o'clock, they've already packed up your clothes.
A record high of 50,000 people currently occupy New York City's shelters. Of those living in them, city figures show 28% of families and 16% of adults are employed.
The jobs are not paying you what they should be paying you, first of all. And the prices are just up on everything. You know, it's just not affordable at all.
In 2011, 46% of New Yorkers were considered either poor or almost poor. The income gap in America's richest city is comparable to those of some sub-Saharan African countries.
We see people coming somewhat maybe embarrassed, ashamed. They're hardworking. They hate to have to ask for a handout, but at the end of the day, if you can't put food on the table for your family, what are you going to do?
There's a fight in Baltimore over panhandling. City Council is considering a ban on begging in certain areas. Some people say it's an uncomfortable nuisance, but others say the panhandlers desperately need the money. WJZ is live on President Street. Kai Jackson has more on the contentious proposal. Kai?
Well, Denise, the city's plans are far from set in stone, but already it's drawing backlash. Emotions run high at Monday's Baltimore City Council meeting as city lawmakers debate the issue of panhandling. One man interrupts the meeting, yelling at leaders, accusing them of trying to sweep the homeless out of view. Council President Jack Young ordered police to remove the man from the chamber. A bill before the council would strengthen an existing panhandling law. It would prohibit aggressive panhandling 10 feet from restaurants and shops and 5 feet from parking meters.
There ought to be a distance, a safe distance before they can approach.
Opponents of the bill are furious and protested in front of City Hall.
This is just another way for the city to tell the homeless that we're not welcome near the inner harbor, the sports arenas, any hotels.
The panhandling issue may force city leaders to try and strike a balance between those on the streets trying to survive and area businesses
Indian burial ground.
Really?
Away from here to Main Street, digging thousands and thousands of Indian bodies up. Then when they found out about all the bodies, all these bodies had to be taken out of here. These Indians found out what they did with the body. They took them out to the dump. About 4 years ago, there was a big war here in this park between Mexicans and blacks.
The fight over feeding the homeless heads to a federal courtroom.
It's a local battle that we have been following for years now. WESH 2's Michelle Meredith joins us live from downtown Orlando. Michelle, what are we expecting to happen today?
Well, we expect the full panel of judges with the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals to take up this long-standing debate again.
What we've been doing for years and years.
To feed or not to feed the homeless in large groups? That is the question. And today, that question will go before the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta. Various anti-poverty activists, like the group Food Not Bombs, along with area churches, have staged mass feedings in Lake Eola and other parks for years. But through the years, the feedings have drawn complaints that they take over the park, that the homeless migrate into the neighborhoods. The city of Orlando clamped down on the feedings. The battle went to court where decisions have seesawed for years. Sometimes the city wins the battle. Sometimes the homeless advocates win. For the homeless, people like Jamie Carver, surviving the streets is a battle.
When I first got on the street, people were different. They were friendlier. Even if they didn't care, they acted like they did. Now, this is pure dog eat dog.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm John DeCepolo. Happy Thanksgiving to all, but apparently not for the homeless, at least the ones living at John Prince Park in Lake Worth. Today is a day to think of others, which is exactly what some Christian folks wanted to do. But when the church group tried to deliver food to those in need, they were ordered to stop by a park ranger. Tonight, in a CBS 12 News exclusive, Israel Valderez tried to ask one simple question: why can't the homeless be fed at a public park?
God takes care of us, you know. We don't starve. We're grateful.
Stephen Griffin and his wife Dominique are homeless. John Prince Park in Lake Worth is their home, and they're not the only ones. That's why a dozen church members,
I do whatever I can,
like Teresa Del Rio from Acts 2 Worship Center in Loxahatchee, showed up with packaged Thanksgiving meals.
We brought our kids out here so they could see what it's really like for people that are struggling.
We do a lot of mission trips and helping the homeless and stuff like that.
And this act of kindness was greatly appreciated.
We're grateful, you know, they hand out, we meet the guys and stuff, you know, they give us a prayer and everything.
But then, just as the homeless like Kevin were being fed, a Palm Beach County park ranger comes up to the church group and orders them to stop and leave.
Everybody just went, huh?
It's very disappointing. We didn't intend for this today. We just wanted to give the food.
So, CBS 12 News walked around Prince Park and followed the church members who just wanted to deliver the remaining Thanksgiving packages. Despite being told by the park ranger to leave or be ticketed.
Mr. Park Ranger.
Yes, sir.
How are you, sir?
Good, how you doing?
Israel Valderez, CBS 12.
We also tracked down the park ranger that witnesses say was kicking out the church members.
These folks are talking. You have to take your questions to the administration building. Are you the one that told these folks that?
This being Thanksgiving, we were respectful of the park ranger.
They're saying that you told some church people to leave.
Hi, I can't
understand.
Talk to you. My
You're a public.
Don't want me to talk.
Park Ranger Mark said he was ordered to warn the church members that they were violating county ordinances.
A local couple who spent more than a year trying to help feed the homeless has been ordered to stop. The reason? They don't have a permit. Eyewitness News reporter Tom Abrams spoke with the couple and city officials, and he joins us now live. Tom?
Well, the city says they're not trying to be the bad guy in this case. They understand the good that this couple is trying to do, but they're also trying to protect the homeless, the same people that couple has been trying to help. Houston has close to 10,000 homeless people. 1 in 5 lives on the streets. Many of them are hungry. And that is why Amanda and Bobby Herring and their friends spent every night for 15 months offering free meals.
We come out here and provide a hot meal every single night, and a lot of love to go with it.
It's just so much about the relationship. I mean, we love them, they love us, these are our friends, they've been home with us.
They say they fed 50 to 100 people every night of the week, first at this empty loading dock and then under this bridge. But 2 weeks ago, they were told to stop.
Now in Miami, Florida, one city commissioner wants to make quality of life offenses illegal. This would make things like sleeping on a park bench, eating on sidewalks, or congregating in public spaces all crimes. This would, in effect, criminalize homelessness. Now, in a 1998 agreement known as Pottinger v. the City of Miami, police officers were instructed not to arrest homeless people, but instead to offer them a bed in a nearby homeless shelter. But that could all change if City Commissioner Mark Sarnoff.
And new at 5 7 News is asking what happens next now that Denver has passed a ban against homeless camping. 7 News reporter Molly Hendrickson set out to find out, and she's live at Civic Center Park where people are getting ready to camp out for the night. Molly, where are they going to go once this ban is enforced?
Well, they have about 2 weeks to figure that out. That's when this new ordinance goes into effect. But from what we found out, nobody seems to really know where these people will go to sleep.
This isn't on my hip right now, but I do have a nightstand.
Jennifer Lewis knows life on the streets is rough, but for her and hundreds of others,
they're pretty much making it like illegal to be homeless.
It's about to get even worse.
I mean, where else are we supposed to sleep?
It's the question no one can seem to answer after Denver passed its homeless camping ordinance. In 2 weeks, it goes into effect, putting the problem squarely on police.
We'll try and find them services first, find them how to get an outreach worker with them, and assist them in that manner before we would ticket or arrest.
Unrealistic, says St. Francis Center Director Tom Lures.
Part of the problem with that is the services might not be available.
Lures tells 7 News there are only 14 outreach workers for the entire city of Denver. Not very many, considering an estimated 300 homeless camp out every night. Still, we found even if an outreach worker responds, it doesn't mean they can help.
they might not have anything to offer the person. Our shelters are full right now.
Lures says they need more resources, more overnight shelters and housing options before the ordinance goes into effect. So when people like Jennifer ask,
But where else are we supposed to go?
they can give her an answer.
Glenn Richter arrived at a Westside synagogue today to collect surplus bagels, fresh, nutritious bagels, to donate to the poor. But under a new edict from Mayor Bloomberg's food police, he can no longer donate the food to city homeless shelters. It's the No Bagels for You edict.
I can't give you something which is a supplement to the food that you already have. Sorry, that's wrong.
Richter has been collecting food from places like the Ohav Zedek Synagogue and bringing it to homeless shelters for over 20 years. But recently his donation, including a cholent or carrot stew, was turned away because the Bloomberg administration wants to monitor the salt, fat, and fiber eaten by the homeless. Richter said he was stunned. He says his family has eaten the same food forever and flourished.
My father lived to 97, my grandfather lived to 97, and they all enjoyed it. And somehow we're being told that this is no good. And again, I think there's a degree of management which becomes micromanagement, and when you cross that line, simply what you're doing is wrong.
But Mayor Bloomberg, a saltaholic himself, was unapologetic.
But for the things that we run, because of all sorts of safety reasons, we just have a policy, it's my understanding, of not taking donations.
Told that his administration recently enacted the policy, the mayor was Grinch-like.
A Metro police officer has been demoted for something he did to a homeless man's belongings.
It started as a peaceful encounter on public property until the police officer pulled a knife. Channel 4's Carly Gordon is here to tell us what happened next.
Yeah, Demetria, the officer didn't attack the homeless man with the knife, but he did go after the man's only shelter, his tent. Now that officer has been removed from the streets, and his higher-ups are having to apologize for his actions. Sean Connor has been homeless for the past 4 years. He's lived here in a tent off of Charlotte Avenue for about 1. And during that time, he's met Metro police officers on several occasions.
Never had any problems, never.
In fact, some of them he calls friends.
We talk, they go down the road, and I'm always, saluting or saying hi.
But the other night, a group of officers made a sweep on Connor's camp, hoping to clean up some of the crime happening in the area. Connor was cited for criminal trespassing, but when he returned...
My tent was slashed. I mean, it looked like Freddy Krueger had come through there, and just, cut it up. Brand new tent. I hadn't had it 2 weeks. $150 tent. And they're not easy for me to come by, being homeless,
Connor says he had no choice but to sleep in what was left of his home.
Only place I had. Woke up with a half-inch of snow on me, the next morning. One of the coldest nights of the year. I could have died.
Officer Sean Heath admitted to the deed. He's since been taken off the streets and is now under investigation.
This was one officer doing something that he shouldn't have done, should not have happened. There's no question about that. He realizes that. He realizes that he was wrong in what he did.
A hidden community of transient and homeless people in Kansas City. We were there today as police went in to break up 3 of the group's campsites in northeast Kansas City, just off of Interstate 435. They found evidence of crime, children, and a secret network of below-ground tunnels. The site was destroyed today. Police spent the week warning residents about the eviction. KMBC 9's Haley Harrison was with police as they inspected the campsite before today's sweep. One homeless outreach group says it is unlike anything they've ever seen before.
Even for me. You wake up in the morning and there's frost on the walls. Your clothes are frosty. Throw them inside the sleeping bag with you for a little while and try to warm them up, get into them, get out and run around. But other than that, that's about all you can do about it. And being out here with no address, no phone, it does make it difficult when you go to apply for certain jobs. As soon as they find out that you're homeless, they think you're not worth their time, regardless of what reputation you may have built over the years. Unless they know you. Once they find out you're homeless, don't have a phone, they drop your application in the trash can as soon as you leave. It's not so much the fact that I'm living out here, it's the fact that I have to live out here. Financially, I don't have a choice. And I see the world going on around me all the time. And it's like candy just out of reach. And that, as much as I hate to admit it, that does work on your mind.